Hello, good day. So in this video we are going to rationalize ang mga most frequently missed questions in the recent or katatapos lang na biochemistry prelim exam. So yung mga question dito na-post ay dito usually nagkakamali yung mga take ng prelim exam ng biochem. So let's proceed. So let's start with the question number one. So sabi sa question dito sa what distinguish protein from the other biomolecules in terms of functions? So, take note that ang tinatanong po sa atin ay function, guys. So, function po yung tinatanong. So, highlight po natin yung function. So, when we say function, titingnan niyo po sa mga pamimilian kung alin dyan yung tumutukoy sa protein. At function dapat, hindi structure ng protein ang tinutukoy. So let's go to the number one. They are the main source of long-term energy storage. So again, pag sinabi pong long-term energy storage, this is not for proteins. This is for lipids. Tanda nyo guys, this is for lipids. Pag sinabing long-term, ang tinutukoy niyan, lipids. So that's not the correct answer. So we're talking about this protein. Next, they do not carry genetic information for hereditary but possess different three-dimensional structures. So tama naman, in terms of function, hindi nga talaga siya nagke-carry ng genetic instruction. Ang nagke-carry ng genetic instruction is the RNA or the nucleic acid. Pero, nabanggit dito sa pangalawa, ang pinipinpoint nitong letter B is yung different three-dimensional structures. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang tinatanong dito function, not the structure. So letter B is also not a correct answer. Same with letter A. So letter C, they can regulate balance and catalyze biochemical reaction. So regulate, balance, and catalyze ay mga function. And alam naman natin, pag may binanggit na multiple function or madaming function sa isang sentence, ang usual na tinutukoy po niyan proteins because sabi ko nga sa inyo, proteins is the most versatile biomolecule because it can function ng iba't iba because kaya niyang mag-create ng iba't ibang three-dimensional uh, structures. Regulate, ibig sabihin, ayan ay hormone. Balance, meron din po tayong protein for balance, for homeostasis, which is also a hormone. And also catalyzed biochemical reactions ay yung mga enzyme. Yung mga enzyme po natin, they are protein. So letter C is probably the correct answer here. Pero sa letter D po natin, they are composed entirely of amino acids containing polar and non-polar side chains. We're not talking about function dito sa letter D. Kaya this is not also a correct answer. So letter C po tayo dito sa question na to. I hope malinaw po kung bakit yan po yung sagot ha. Para dun sa mga nakakita nitong tanong na ito dun sa exam. Hindi ko na lang nilagay dito kung anong number itong question na ito. Basta kung familiar sa iyo, alalahanin nyo na lang itong tanong na to. Next. Which statement correctly compares carbohydrate and protein? Sinatanong lang dito, kinukumpara daw yung carbohydrate, sorry, now, no, not protein, lipids. So, carbohydrates and lipids. So, tingnan natin. Both serve as enzyme in metabolic reactions. Both serve as enzyme. When we say enzyme, we're not talking about these two. We're talking about proteins. So letter A is not the correct answer. Basta may makita kayo any evidence na mag-i-invalidate nung isang option, i-cross out nyo na agad sa mga possible nyong piliin na tanong kasi magkakamali lang po kayo pag yun ang pinili nyo. Ano? So, or else, alamin niyo yung mga background ng biomolecules para hindi kayo malito kapag may mga ganito na pong tanong tungkol sa kanila. Next, carbohydrates are better suited for long term. Okay, storage than lipids. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang long term ay lipids, hindi carbohydrates. Ang tinatanong dito correctly compare. So hindi kino-compare ng correctly ng letter B ang carbohydrates and lipids. Although kinompare naman niya, kaso nga lang baligtad. Ang long term po natin ay lipids. So ang carbohydrates po short-term energy reserve. So that's not the correct answer. Next, letter C. Carbohydrates are hydrophobic while lipids ay hydrophilic. O, correctly compare po ba? No. Because ang carbohydrates, they are not hydrophobic. Madi-dissolve din po. or nadi-dissolve ang majority ng carbohydrates sa water. Kaya hindi sila hydrophobic. Ang hydrophobic po ay lipids. So this characteristic is for lipids, while this hydrophilic is for carbohydrates. Although some of the carbohydrates like the polysaccharide ay insoluble sa water, pero most of them are hydrophilic or water soluble. So letter C is not the correct answer. Letter D, lipids provide more energy. Wow, nandun na yung term more. Di ba pagka long-term energy storage, ibig sabihin, mas madami siyang energy na uubusin dun sa molecule ng lipids. Madaming energy siyang ini-store. So more energy per gram than carbohydrates. That is the correct answer. So it correctly compare the lipids than carbohydrates and the carbohydrates. So letter D po tayo. Basta class, pagka multiple choice po, the technique is you have to invalidate the other options. Na kapag may statement na mali na sinabi yung ibang option ay i-ano nyo. Tapos habang nagsasagot kayo is nag-i-imagine kayo sa utak nyo if ever na may background naman kayo doon sa mga nasa question. So mag-ano kayo ng mga possibility, mag-isip kayo, wag po basta pili ng sagot. Next, wala nga palang number. Which of the following is not a function of carbohydrates in the human body? Not a function. Ito naman, before ng prelim exam, ito yung na-post ko na dun sa una nating video. Dun sa parang review questions. So, ito yung nasa prelim exam nyo din. So, tingnan natin ha. Pag sinabing function ng carbohydrates, tumutukoy tayo sa carbohydrates. Sabi dito, they serve as a primary source. Ang carbohydrates po, tama po, primary source of energy po ang carbohydrate. So next po, letter B, they are structural component. So letter A po, hindi tamang sagot kasi ang tinatanong dito, basahin niyo po yung not a function ang tinatanong. So next, they are structural component of DNA and RNA. Sa DNA, meron tayong deoxyribose, which is a carbohydrate po. Ha, basta may O's, sugar yon. Then we have the ribose or RNA. So this one is that also a correct answer kasi the function ng carbohydrate sa binanggit dito, structural component ng DNA at RNA, which is the ribose and deoxyribose. Next po, letter C. They serve as a short-term energy reserve. Yes, tama po yan. Short-term po ang carbohydrates. Ang long-term po, long-term or pangmatagalang reserba ng enerhiya ay lipids. When you say short-term, that's referred to carbohydrates. So that's why letter C is also not a correct answer. Hindi rin po siya tamang sagot. So that's why we lead to the answer letter D. No correct response po for this question. Kasi lahat po ng nabanggit sa A to C ay mga function ng carbohydrates. Wala po nag-satisfy ng tinatanong na not a function. Next po. Which of the following biomolecules used as a fuel for the first step of cellular respiration? Okay, if you're familiar with cellular respiration, ito po yung kanyang general equation. Yung photosynthesis po, babaligtarin lang natin. C6H12O6 plus oxygen po. Ito po yung product ng photosynthesis. Ngayon, sa cellular respiration, kabaligtaran nung sa photosynthesis ang chemical equation. So ito, pag pinag-add po natin with 6 oxygen, 1 glucose molecule, makaka-create po tayo ng 6 water molecule, which is yung lumalabas sa inyong pawis. Then, makaka-create din po tayo ng CO2, yung galing sa inyong respiratory system, yung lumalabas. And then also, makakapag-create tayo makapag-degenerate tayo ng energy in the form of ATP. Ano? ATP. Okay? So, pwede rin pong hindi ATP, pwedeng heat energy ng katawan nyo. Pagkatapos i-burn yung sugar. Okay? This the whole process. It's a cellular respiration. And we all know na itong C6H12O6 ay isang carbohydrates, which is produced nung plants, di ba? This is glucose, no? Kailangan natin sa cellular respiration, guys. So that's why ang pinakang unang fuel or source as fuel para sa cellular respiration para makapag-create ng energy is the carbohydrates, guys. Original fuel po ng katawan natin. So glucose is also a blood sugar, guys. Kaya siya tinawag na blood sugar, siya po yung sugar na marami sa ating bloodstream. Pinaka-available sugar sa inyong dugo. And a main source of energy. Next po. Which of the following is a five-ring structured monosaccharide? Okay, lahat po, basta po mga sugar guys, monosaccharide. Ha? Ang prefix po nila, O's. Okay, O's. Now, if you're familiar with the with the structure of them, o no, do sa mga PowerPoint, if na kahit pa paano ay na-glance nyo or nasulyapan nyo yung itsura ng structure nila, 'di ba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, pag mga sugar, sabi nga, pinapa-recite ko, usually ang mga shape na ngayon ay hexagonal shape or pentagonal. Ano? Pentagonal shape. Pag sinabi pong five ring structured, ang kanya pong side ay 5. Tapos ang six ring structured ay 6. Ano? So ang six ring structure po natin ay example po, glucose, six ring structure po 'yan. Ang galactose, six ring structure po 'yan. Stop na lang muna ako dito sa dalawa kasi ito yung prior knowledge nyo. Ito yung dalawa. Kasi yung ibang monosaccharide ay tsaka na natin banggitin kapag nasa carbohydrates na tayo. Next, ito pong itong five ring structure na 'to, ang mga example po niyan ay ribose. Kung ire-review niyo po yung structure, tapos fructose, 'yan, five ring structure din po ang fructose. Although six carbon sugar ang fructose pero five ring structure siya. Ang ribose naman po ay five carbon sugar lang pero five ring structure po. Then also the deoxyribose. They are all five ring structure itong tatlo. So that's why ang tamang sagot dito is letter D. All of the choices are correct. Sabi, tinatanong five ring structure ay lahat sila five ring structure po. Kasama po sila dito. So, yan naman mga anong yan, mga structure na yan ay maki-encounter uli natin sa mismong carbohydrates na topic. So next po, which of the following reaction is an anabolic? When you say anabolic, tandaan nyo guys, class, build. Nagbe-build ang ano niyan, clue word o synthesize. Hanapin nyo lang itong clue word na to, dalawa lang ang ano niya na, build, synthesize, at saka pala clue word din niya, form. Oh, when you say anabolic. Pagka naman catabolic is nag-break or lumiit yung molecule. Break, ang mga clue word, break, ganun. Pero this time, anabolic po yung tinatanong. So letter A, digestion. Imagine mo, pag dinigest niyo yung start into glucose, ano ba siya? Nagbe-build to nagbe-break. Nagbe-break po yan. So that's not the correct answer. Letter B, conversion of ATP to ADP. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, ibig sabihin, meron siyang tatlong phosphate connected to the this nucleoside. Yung nucleoside po, kapag nucleoside, matatopic na natin yan ngayong sunod, ay kapag sugar lang po at saka for example meron tayo ditong yan adenine. So meron tayong adenine. So this is adenosine triphosphate. So naging diphosphate, ibig sabihin may na-break. Na-break yung isang phosphate. So that's why it's not the correct answer. So next po, synthesis. Ayun, sabi ko nga sa inyo, clue word, anabolic synthesis. Ayun, letter C, the correct answer. Yung letter D kasi, breakdown, ay para yan sa catabolic. Okay? For catabolic yan. So that's not the correct answer. So letter C is for this item. Next, what biochemical reactions is responsible for breaking of glycosidic bond used by using water mo? Binibreak yung bond. Tanda nyo, mayroon tayong, for example, sabi dito, glycosidic. Let's say, we have two sugar molecule connected by a glycosidic bond. Yan, itong nasa gitna. That's the glycosidic bond. Then, nag-input daw ng water. Water. So, adding water. Then, we break this bond. Okay? After adding water. So, what do you call that process? That's called hydrolysis. Tayo, may ano naman tayo, may clue. Lysis means to break. So, letter B po ang tamang sagot. So, ang condensation reaction naman po guys, if ever na maiba yung tanong, condensation reaction naman yung itatanong, is uh, nag-ano naman po yung dalawa. Ito, papasok ang tubig. Yung dalawa naman ay ah, nag nag-bind together, hindi sila brinika. Tapos palabas naman, may lumabas na tubig. That's called the condensation reaction. Ang condensation reaction is ay anabolic process that build larger molecule by binding a smaller molecule. Then may involved na removal of water. Okay, I hope you remember that. Next po, what happens during the hydrolysis reaction? Yan nga, kakaano lang doon sa kaninang tanong. Connected tayo. Ano nga sinabi pag hydrolysis? Nag-add ng water sa break. Tingnan nyo lang sa option. Water is released. Water is released. Hindi in-add, ni-release. So that's not the correct answer. Water is released again. So that's not the correct answer. Actually, nililito nga kayo. Sabi, water is released to build. Binaligtad, So water is added. Okay, to break, build up larger molecules. Okay, that's letter C. Possible na ma-hook kayo nito na ito na yung piliin nyo kasi to break. Pero basahin mo yung sunod. And to build up sabi. Build up ba? Pag nag-break, hindi magbe-build up ang larger molecule. Liliit ka lalo kasi na-break eh. So that's not the correct answer. Letter D. Water is added to break down to break down, that's the correct term. Break down larger molecules, not to break and to build up larger molecules. So this question is letter D. Okay na sana itong letter C. Kaso pagka nabiktima kayo nito, ito agad pipiliin nyo kasi added to break. Pero tingnan yung sunod na statement, build up. So, wag po tayo basta-basta pipili ng sagot. Basahin mo na lahat ng option. So, added to break po yung letter D kaya yun, correct answer. Next, which of the following is a real-life example of hydrolysis reaction in the human body? Real-life example of hydrolysis reaction in the human body. Okay. Hydrolysis means to break. Hanap lang kayo sa option na mukhang bine-break yung something, pero real life example lang. Next, formation. Ayan na ang word, formation. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya nagbe-break, siya ay nagbe-build. Siya ay anabolic. So, that's not hydrolysis. So, letter A is not the correct answer. Absorption of water in the large intestine. So, ang sabi lang dito, nag-absorb ang water sa large intestine. Necessary na ba siyang masabing hydrolysis? Tingnan po muna natin ang ibang option. Conversion of glucose to glycogen for storage. Conversion of glucose. When you say glucose, monomers yan, monomers. Ito po yan. Tapos pag ginawa mo siyang glycogen, magiging polymer. Ibig sabihin, you're not breaking. You're building here, the letter C. Glucose to glycogen. Ginawa mong polymer yung monomer. Kasi storage natin ng glucose sa ating liver ay glycogen, which is binilled from this monomer. So this is not the correct answer. Next, letter D. Ito po letter B at letter D ang ating tinitimbang. Breakdown of starch into glucose during digestion. Digestion, sabi nga sa ating recitation, di ba? This is an example of catabolic process na nagbe-breakdown, catabolic, na usually ang ginagamit niya mechanism to break down the food that you eat with the presence of enzyme nung digestion is the process of hydrolysis. Tama. So yung starch po na kinain nyo, pupunta sa inyong mouth with the enzyme amylase. With the presence of water, the amylase can break the glycosidic bond through hydrolysis. So that's why letter D is the correct answer, not letter B. Breaking of starch into glucose during digestion. Next item. Which of the following is an example of cell reaction regulated by enzyme? Cell reaction regulated. So, nabanggit ang enzyme. Ang mga enzyme po, ang suffix niyan ay ase. Kunyari, example po ng enzyme, amylase, protease, yung for sa yan, yun po yung mga example ng enzyme. Usually, they end with ase. Like for example, lactase. Yan. So, tingnan po natin kung may nabanggit na ganyan na may age. Then, tingnan natin kung magsasatisfy na nagre-regulate yung cell tone. So, sa pamimilian po, may isa pong nabanggit. This is phosphoproctokinase. Ang kinase po, indicator na ito pong, something na ito ay isang enzyme. So, regulated, ibig sabihin, ang possible na synonym niyan kapag when we say regulate is parang may kinokontrol, 'di ba? Parang may kinokontrol or minamanage pag nire-regulate. So tingnan niyo sa letter B. 'Di ba? Glycolysis pathway controlled. Controlled. So ibig sabihin, It is a cell reaction regulated by an enzyme. Ang glycolysis po nangyayari, for example, pagka tayo nandito na sa mga metabolic pathway, this is the cell. Dito po nangyayari ang steps ng glycolysis sa cytoplasm. So that is an example of cell reaction regulated by an enzyme. That is letter B. Okay? So I hope kasi ito pong letter C at letter D and letter A, wala pong nabanggit na enzyme. Kita niyo naman oh, yun lang pinagkaiba. Dito lang nabanggit yung enzyme. Ang tinatanong kasi regulated by enzymes. Yun lang po kaya dumirekta na agad ako sa letter B. Hahanapin niyo lang kung alin ang may enzyme sa option. Next, in a patient with bacterial infection, how do antibiotics like penicillin demonstrate enzyme inhibition? Ito naman ay kung natandaan nyo yung sa aking lecture about sa inhibition. Di ba yung tatlo? We have the competitive, uh, non-competitive, and uncompetitive. Sa competitive inhibition, ang isang example natin dyan ay yung penicillin, di ba? Clinical, clinical correlation ng inhibition. So, sa clinical correlation, nabanggit ko sa inyo na yung penicillin, ang ini-inhibit nito is yung enzyme na nagpo-form ng cell wall ng bacteria. For example, we have bacteria. Yan. Yung bacteria, meron siyang papatigas yan, peptidoglycan. Yung dinadalawang layer niya yan. Tapos ang nagke-create niyan para magdalawang layer, nagbabind nung dalawang layer ng peptidoglycan para ano yung cell wall ng bacteria ay yung transpeptidase. Ano yung transpeptidase? Transpeptidase enzyme. Yung transpeptidase enzyme, kinukumpit ng penicillin or ini-inhibit by means of competitive inhibition. So that's why hindi na siya makakapag-bind nitong mga peptidoglycan which is yung kanyang substrate. So, kinumpit ng penicillin. So, that's why yung bacteria, mahina yung kanyang cell wall, marupok, and hindi niya kakayanin yung turgor pressure ng kanyang, nitong sa loob, yung fluid sa loob, para magkakameron ng cell bursting. Kasi, pag mataas po kasi ang turgor pressure and pressure din sa labas, pag nasa loob sila ng katawan natin, yung mga bacteria. That's why magkukulaps yung kanyang cell wall kapag hindi nakapag-create ng layer ng peptidoglycan na enough para i-contradict yung pressure. So that's why and also magiging ano rin sila vulnerable sa immune system natin kapag na ano yung kanilang cell wall. So the letter C is the correct answer. Ini-inhibit po nung penicillin yung bacterial enzymes that build the cell walls. Okay? Next letter, number ano po pala? Ay wala nga palang number. Next po is which of the following best explain how statins work to lower the cholesterol level. So, when say cholesterol, statins, ito po ay another clinical correlation po nung diniscuss ko sa inyo. Medyo may ano po yata sound ng aso. Ito po yung isang clinical correlation nung diniscuss ko sa inyo about sa competitive inhibition. Ang example po nung ano natin doon, yung enzyme na nagke-create ng cholesterol sa katawan nyo, binablock ng statin which is yung HMG-CoA. HMG-CoA ay isang enzyme na kailangan ng katawan to synthesize the end of the metabolic pathway ng cholesterol. Ngayon, ang ginawa nito, blinak ng statins yung enzyme. That's why hindi na nakakreate yung cholesterol. So, in the following the correct answer is letter B. They inhibit an enzyme involved in cholesterol synthesis. Synthesis means yung paggawa ng cholesterol ng katawan nyo. So that's why dun po nagwo-work ang statins. Next question. Ito marami ditong possible na nagkamali dahil baka nalito sa order. Ang sinasabi po dito, increasing mass. 'Di ba yung percentage natin, 'di ba pag nagre-recite kayo, oxygen 65%, ah carbon, okhanakap 18%. Ayan. Tapos hydrogen and so on. Yan po ay pag mula oxygen down to the last, ano nga po yung last natin? Phosphorus, down to phosphorus. Anong order yan? 65 papunta sa pinakamababang percentage. That is decreasing order. Decreasing, guys. Ano? Decreasing. Now, 'Pag naman mula phosphorus papunta sa oxygen, that is the increasing order. So titingnan niyo lang sa pamimilian, alin yung nagsisimula sa phosphorus, yung pinakamababa papunta sa pinakamataas. So A, hindi yan B, hindi yan C. So letter D, siya po yung lang nagsisimula lang sa phosphorus. That's why that's the correct answer. So baka kasi ang ano na isagot niyo dito letter A kasi yung sinasaulin yung mnemonics na okhanakap. Ano, yung okhanakap. Pero pag yun po kasi okhanakap ang sinunod niyo, that is decreasing. Ang tanong dapat decreasing. Hey, wag na po malilito ha kapagka nakita niyo uli yung ano, yung tanong na ito or pagka ano, binago naman itong tanong. Next, in terms of mass percent, which of the following statement concerning human body is correct? Ito po, most frequently missed question din ito. So, alam niyo naman na ang ating katawan ay 62 to 70% water. Dapat, ano, H2O. Yan. Tapos, ang H2O po ay bio-inorganic. Pag sinabing bio-inorganic, sabi ko nga sa inyo, mga walang carbon and hydrogen na doon sa kanilang molecule, yung mga biomolecule na gano'n. Then, ang kasamahan niya ay inorganic salt, which is around 5%. Then, we have the bio-organic. Ang bio-organic natin, pinakamalaki, we have the proteins, then followed by the lipids, then followed by the carbohydrates and nucleic acid. So, protein natin ang may pinakamalaking porsyento, 18%, ano, tapos 8% lipids, 2% itong dalawa. So, papansin nyo, napakalaki ng bio-inorganic. So, hanapin nyo sa question, sa option, sabi dito, correct. Yung sinasabi na much more or mas abundant ang bio-inorganic. Letter A, bio-inorganic substances are less abundant. So that's not the correct answer. Sabi less abundant. Ay abundant nga ang bio-inorganic. Next, bio-organic substances are much more abundant than bio-organic. Much more abundant po ba ang bio-organic kaysa dito? Hindi. Tama. Bio-organic po, wag kayo malilito. Bio-organic. Ito daw mas marami dito. Pero hindi totoo. Next, letter C. Bio-organic substances are slightly lang ba? Or bio-organic pati ang binanggit? More abundant ba siya? Hindi nga siya more abundant eh. Abundant talaga ang bio. So, here, the correct answer is letter D. No correct option for this item po. So, baka po, ano isipin nyo lang itong anong ito. Ito lang ang guide dito para hindi kayo magkamali pag tatanong ulit ito sa inyo. Itong percentage ng bio-inorganic at bio-organic. Next, which of the following statement concerning monomers is incorrect? When we say monomers, they are the building block. Ano? Building blocks ng macromolecules. Saan ba nabanggit ang monomers? Di ba nabanggit siya dun sa hierarchical organization of the cell? Ang una ay major precursor, di ba? Pagkatapos ng major, atom muna pala, atom, tapos major precursor, tapos monomers, tapos macromolecules, tapos sunod, supramolecular complex. Ito po yung guide nyo pag ito'y tinanong sa inyo. Supramolecular complexes, tapos sunod ay organelle, tapos sunod ay cell membrane, tapos sunod ay cell. Yan po yung pagkakasunod-sunod, guys. Ngayon, incorrect ang tinatanong. Incorrect. Tingnan natin sa letter A. They cannot be broken down into simpler units by hydrolysis. Tama. Tama po ito. Ang hydrolysis po nangyayari lang kapag polymer. For example, this is glucose. Tapos may bond na ganon. Yan, polymer. Ang hydrolysis po, dito lang siya nagwo-work sa glycosidic bond. Pero pagka monomers na siya, hindi na po siya kayang i-breakdown ng H2O. Guys, tandaan nyo, hindi na siya kayang i-breakdown ng H2O. Ang nakakapag-breakout down na ng mga monomers is yung mga enzyme. Tandaan nyo, enzyme na involved dun sa metabolic pathway na papasukan ng mga biomolecule. For example, glycolysis. This glucose can be breakdown through the process of glycolysis. And in the process of glycolysis, water is not involved. Ang involved dyan, mga enzyme. Guys, mga enzyme na. So that's why pag monomers, hindi po siya kaya ng hydrolysis. So letter A is not correct, not the correct ano. Okay, tama. Cannot be broken down. Tama po kasi yung statement letter A, kaya hindi siya tamang sagot. Kasi tinatanong incorrect. Tama po kasi yan. Cannot be broken down by hydrolysis nga mga monomers. Next, they are created through the reaction of metabolites. Okay, they are created through the reaction of metabolites. So, ang mga example po, ang metabolites nga po pala, yan po ang ibig sabihin po yan, kasama, yan po ay, ano din, also known as the major precursors. Okay? So, ang mga major precursors like the CO2, like the H2O, they are also metabolites. They are product of metabolism. Bale, yung reaction ng mga to, makakabuo ng monomers, which is correct din. Created through the reaction. So, letter B is not the correct answer. Kasi correct po kasi siya. Yung mga metabolites po pag nag-react, makakabuo na yung monomers like the monosaccharide, like the amino acids, ano. So, hindi po siya to tamang sagot. Letter C, they can be combined to directly create supramolecular complex. Directly, ang sabi directly. Pagkatapos po makombine ba ang monomers, supramolecular complex agad. 'Di ba pagka kinombine yung monomers, ano muna? Macromolecule muna. Macromolecule. Bago pa, yung macromolecules, siya yung magbibuild naman ng supramolecular. Sabi kasi directly. Kaya hindi rin po siya tama sagot. Next, letter D. They are the building blocks of macromolecules. Oh, building blocks. Oh, anong kasunod ng monomers? Pag binuo natin mga monomers, madami, makabuo tayo ng macromolecules. So that's the correct answer. Letter D. Next item. In terms of biomolecules, which is true about cytoplasm? Okay, we have the cell, we have the nucleus, and the cytoplasm. Ano? Cytoplasm. Sabi daw, in terms of biomolecules. Tingnan natin ha. It is the area region between the cell and the nuclear. Tama naman, between the cell and nuclear envelope of the nucleus. Between the cell and the nuclear envelope. Tama po siya, kaso nga lang, in terms of biomolecules ang tinatanong nga, in terms of biomolecules. So letter A is not the correct answer. Tama naman yung statement. Region nga siya between the nuclear envelope and the nucleolus. By the way, hindi po pala cytoplasm ang tinutukoy dito kasi nuclear envelope, yung nuclear membrane, tsaka nucleus daw. So ibig sabihin, ang tinutukoy ay itong nasa loob ng nucleus natin na fluid that is called the nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm. So hindi siya cytoplasm. So mali talaga yung letter A. Next, letter B. It is made up of organelles suspended in a jelly-like structure. Sinabi lang na made up of organelles, pero biomolecularly speaking, hindi po siya in-explain in terms of biomolecules. So that's not the correct answer. Next, it is made up of 70 to 80% water and 10 to 15%. So possible po yung tamang sagot kasi biomolecules po ang water at saka yung proteins. This is bio-inorganic and this is bio-organic. Next, it is a part of the cell that separates the internal. So, biomolecular speaking po ang tinatanong dito, kaya hindi rin po tama sagot sa letter D. So, we lead to the final answer, letter C. Kasi dito lang po nabanggit ang biomolecules, the water and the proteins. Tama po yan, 70 to 80% po ng cytoplasm ay water approximately, and 10 to 15% approximately ay protein. Sa lesson natin na na biomolecules in the cell parts. Next po. A nurse applies a cold compress. Okay, this is the properties of water. Di ba may tatlong properties tayo ng water? The high specific heat capacity, high specific heat capacity, and also the high latent heat of vaporization, and the number one is being a good solvent or universal solvent. Yung kanya solubility property, Solub solubility property. No. Yung kanyang ability to dissolve other, yung mga universal solvent. So, pag sinabi mong cold compress, ang sabi ko nga sa inyo, pag may cold compress, kaya nilalagyan ng cold compress. Kasi ang gagawin ng cold compress, i, ah, i, i, ipopromote niya ang heat transfer from the area ng injury papunta dun sa water na nasa cold compress. Tapos, yung water na nasa cold compress, since, di ba nga sabi ko sa inyo, mataas ang heat capacity ng water, madami siyang makukuhang heat. Gradually lang niya kinukuha. Then, nagpo-promote siya ng vasoconstriction. Ibig sabihin, para mapa-slow down yung inflammation o yung pamamaga. So, this property of water na ginagamit sa cold compress, guys, paulit-ulit na po, is the being having a high specific heat capacity. Kasi hindi mabilis uminit ang tubig. So that's why pag nilagay niyo dito, ang dami niyang init na i-absorb bago pa siya mag-raise ng temperature. And nakakapag-promote din siya ng vasoconstriction kapag nalalamigan yung mga ugat. Next po. Ito, marami dito nagkamali kahit yung mga ating mga top achiever or yung mga highest. Nagkamali din dito. So, the symptoms of this condition include seizures, heart palpitation, shortness of breath, loss of consciousness, and coma. Siguro, kaya hindi niyo masyadong ay baka hindi niyo masyadong na-review yung about sa mga symptoms dahil baka napapokus dun sa mga pagbasa ng parameters. Yung pag-detect kung may alkalosis, acidosis, respiratory, and metabolic, Pero yung mga symptoms baka na natin na kaligtaan. So dito po, ang tamang sagot po natin dito, tingnan niyo yung mga symptoms we have seizures, heart palpitation, shortness of breath, and loss of consciousness. May mga symptoms po dito na tanging si acidosis lang ang meron. Ano? 'Di ba sa acidosis, meron tayong tinatawag na hypoventilation. Hypoventilation. Ibig sabihin, hindi makahinga ng malalim. Parang meron siyang tinatawag na shortness of breath. Tama po yan. Pang-acidosis yan. Then dito rin po, may mapapansin din kayong symptoms na parehas na meron sila. Katulad nitong heart palpitation or irregular heartbeat. Parehas pong nangyayari yun sa pasyente na merong acidosis at alkalosis. That's why meron po tayong symptoms na nakita na overlapping sa dalawa. So here, since may symptoms na overlapping dito sa ating the correct answer is both acidosis and alkalosis. So, ayan. So that's all na po para sa mga frequently missed question ng ating nakaraang prelim exam. Ah, God bless po everyone. I hope you pass the exam na po sa ngayong week. Okay? So that's all for this video and God bless you all, guys.